Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing great. So today we'll be having Marco Morales, who is having expertise in AI art and who is also an AI artist by profession and also serving as innovation strategy lead at Tata Consultancy Services. So obviously I'll be asking him some questions related to his work at TCS and also his enthusiasm and motivation in AI field and also the space exploration, Web3, metaverse and all. So without a further ado, let's welcome Marco. Thank you so much for joining in, Marco. I hope you are doing great.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So first of all, I would like you basically to introduce yourself, including like where are you currently based at and what are you currently working for.
Okay. Let's see. Right now, I am based in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, and working for TCS, for PACE specifically, which is the innovation hub, part of TCS. And I'm here as a innovation strategist, as a digital transformation consultant, as a design thinking expert, all kinds of things, depending on what the project needs.
That sounds really awesome. So like if you can briefly describe about your work like in TCS, basically like mentioning like the innovation strategy lead like that you have mentioned in your profile. So if you can briefly describe like what are your daily works and challenges and all.
For sure. Um, Basically, the innovation hub is a place where large companies, global companies, come to when they have a problem or a challenge that has to do with digital and they don't know how to overcome. And it's not just about technology, but it's about the combination of technology, people, and business. So let's say it can be anything from how to leverage ChatGPT to improve processes at a company, to apply that innovation and make the most of it. But it could also be that they have an onboarding, a large bank maybe has a really lengthy onboarding process, or insurance company. The claim process is very long and they need to really shorten it to make it more digitally native. So those are some of the challenges that we see, and we're always looking at what new technology can do to help that across. So let's say that also on a distribution chain or a value chain, end-to-end sort of process, how do you track a product all the way from the crops where it's being picked up to delivery, to ensure that at all times we can look at the history of that product, so we know that it was ethically sourced, so that we know where it is at any one point across the ocean, so we know if it's in the port or not, and then we can track it all the way through the manufacturing process until delivery, and then waste management. So how do you track that batch? That's also something that we look at, all the different bits of technology, how they click to each other and how they can help us get the full picture. So that's some of the tasks that we do. And then in order to achieve that, what we do is put together teams specifically for each project. And we have the combination of a business, I guess, mindset, a user mindset, and a technology mindset. So all three need to be represented in the team, and we collaborate with the client. So basically, we have sessions together with the clients where we have a few people from our team, a few people from the client's team, and then a few extra experts that we bring in. So having all these people there, what we do is we organize it in sprints. So then we can say, we'll do a discovery sprint to understand really what is the challenge, to bring the different stakeholders into the room to talk, and in some cases for the first time. Sometimes they work in silos, they don't really talk between departments, but there's a challenge that needs to be solved as a wider part of the company, not just as a single group. So that's when you need to bring sometimes managers and the professionals that are working at the same time with different stakeholders and mediate and arrange all the different priorities that they have, how to translate business priorities into technical solutions, and how to basically provide that channel of information to flow between all the different parties. So at the end, the solution provided brings all the needs, solves all the problems, and has the priority set so that it definitely has a good impact on the company so that they can afford then to implement those solutions. So that's a wide perspective.
Yeah, that sounds great. And also, like as we have mentioned, like they are using the use of AI technologies, so like it's really good to hear that. Yeah, it's like TCS is basically like based in India, like headquartered in Mumbai, India. So like it's good to hear that they are using the AI technologies, and also like they are like like they recruit a lot of candidates from like Indian colleges mostly, like particularly the graduates. So yeah, and I think like it's one of the, yeah, like one of the like most number of hiring like companies, like when it comes to like undergraduates, particularly like in my college also, like they come like in the third year and basically hire in bulk, like provide a lot of job opportunities for the Indians particularly. So it's really good that they are adopting the AI technology.
Well, it's TCS is a really large organization, right?
Yeah.
So it has a lot of different areas, different departments, different verticals. So it also depends on your focus. You can end up working in areas that are closer to the technology, or that are closer to the management of the rollout of that technology, or even engagement with the end client. So there needs to be someone who's actually speaking directly with the people who are on the client side paying for these developments. And then within that, there's also a lot of different groups within TCS that do different things. In our case, TCS Space is the innovation hub aspect of it, but there's also Rapid Labs, which do a lot of research and development of the latest technologies. There's TCS Interactive, which is more about the development of digital solutions. There's different groups dedicated to anything from blockchain to AI to metaverse to you name it, and there will be a group somewhere in the wide ecosystem of TCS who's looking very closely at that particular bit of tech.
Yeah, totally makes a lot of sense. So like also I have seen like in your LinkedIn post, like you mentioned some images related to AI, NFTs and all. So like you are being like, and also like you are being an AI artist. So if you can briefly describe about your interest in that particular field, and also like your work as a co-founder of artificial intelligence creative like community.
Of course. I learn by doing. So then, whenever there's something new, I jump into it and I get busy. I join hackathons and then I try the new tools and I do projects and basically sign up to every Discord channel and every group that there is just to really immerse myself in that new tech. In this case, I've been doing, well, I've always been a artist, designer. I was doing a lot of concept art, digital art prior. But then when Dall-e came out, I started taking notice and I thought, wow, that's really interesting. Before that, there was, what was it? There was Neural Dream, I think, from Google. And that was really trippy. But then Dall-e came out and started showing a lot of promise. And then shortly afterwards, Midjourney came out. And this is, I joined around June 2022. So that's a little bit over a year. And in that time, it went from being quite rough to suddenly being really photorealistic, which is what we see now. So in that process, I just joined, and early in the piece, I think there was an interest of a lot of different people who were playing with this new technology to make art to come together, because a lot of the people involved didn't come from an artistic background. It's people who are during the day bankers or I don't know, shop assistants or accountants or anyone who suddenly could create these images, and therefore the idea of a community started being thrown around. And so one of the team, Seth, is the one who started approaching some of the people who were doing a lot of posting at the time and saying, hey, should we do something together? And that was how we started. So coming together, organizing a group on LinkedIn, and then after a little while, we started organizing a Discord server for that, and it just grew. So now I think we're close to 10,000 users. So that's it's grown really fast, and I think we're now approaching the critical mass point in which it's just going to grow exponentially. But what it's doing also is sharing tips, tricks, sharing knowledge, basically lowering the barrier so that anyone can come in and learn how to use AI in order to create art or visuals. So it's a very open sharing community. Although also we have a lot of animosity and attacks coming from anti-AI people. So there's always a little bit of tension when they turn up and they have their own perspectives and agenda, and we have to continuously argue and discuss about the ethics and availability and accessibility of AI as a tool for everyone. So that's got a lot of attention. And then my own work, I've developed my own perspective. I call it bubblepunk.io. So that's my art name, bubblepunk.io, and that's the website. That's my website. And I have basically focused on sci-fi, but also a very inclusive perspective to make sure that I can represent diversity in the characters that I create. So that is diversity of everything from ethnicity, diversity of body, diversity of sexuality, gender identity. So really looking at how can we move away from the bias of the machine where you say woman and it will give you a Caucasian, thin-looking influencer, when women are so much more than that, right? So that's something that also I have a lot of fun doing. Is just trying different styles, different looks, but with these sort of core values at the center of it. And that's also spawned a lot of other really interesting projects. I've got another one which is a mixture between my interest in space and AI, and it's called Kepler Files. And the idea of the Kepler Files is what would happen if you put a National Geographic team in a spaceship and send it over to the Kepler exoplanet to record what's happening over there and what life you see over there. So that's the Kepler Files, and that allowed me to bring together a team of artists, and we've created what I would call an artistic ecosystem, right? So an artistic ecosystem is something that is not just a linear story that we're telling or even a series of images. It's more of a cumulus of all the different media that you can create, because once you create an image, you can also story. You can also use AI to generate that story, and you can create these images as standalone or as part of a book or as part of the assets that you would need to play a game, or animate it and turn it into video, or expand it, turn it into 3D and create a video game out of it. So then the idea that there's only one type of medium, I think we're moving out of that and saying, why don't we have all the mediums? Why don't we have all the different ways of telling a story, just using all the depth and breadth that this has? So instead of saying, "Oh, we're gonna write a book and that's it," it's like, "Well, it's gonna be the book and the soundtrack and the video game and the collector cards and the this and the that and the everything that can be a part of that universe, so that anyone can come in and enjoy it, but also people from different disciplines can come in and participate as artists." So that's another project that I'm involved with.
Yeah, that sounds really great. And also like the point that you have mentioned like is very interesting here. Like irrespective of like whether somebody like knows how to draw an art or not, like AI can basically create that for you. Like if you can basically basically write your own thoughts in the form of words and describe the same, then AI can create a art for like an art for the same, right?
Yes, with the caveat that I compare this a lot to Photoshop, right? In the beginning, Photoshop was a lot simpler than it is today, um, and allowed a lot of people who couldn't do anything to suddenly scan an image and then copy paste it and do some very basic collage on Photoshop, create posters, right? Create some brochures. Suddenly, you didn't need a professional designer to be able to create that. But still, just because you have Photoshop installed in your computer doesn't mean that what you create is going to be of the same level or quality as someone who's been working for 20 years, right? So the same with AI. I think it's easy to create something beautiful if you don't have a specific thing in mind. So if I said a flying dog, it'll create a beautiful flying dog. But if what you want is a specific breed of a dog flying at a certain angle and holding something specific in the mouth, that is not so easy. And for that, you really need to start learning the craft of prompt engineering so that you can prompt it right, so that you can get the right look and feel. And then you start realizing that not all platforms are the same. So some of them will allow you to do some things, but you don't own the platform. Therefore, you are subject to whatever the platform limitations are, right? So, for example, Midjourney doesn't allow any faces that you upload as a photo to be reproduced, right? So it changes them. So even if you want to, for example, show yourself as a gladiator, right? You would think, oh, so I can upload a photo of myself and just tell it, make me a gladiator. But Midjourney decides, no, we're not going to do that because we want to avoid getting sued for defamation or for deep fakes or for anything like that. So in the algorithm, they already change your face to something else. So then there's people going, why do I keep uploading my face? And it changes it. So yeah, because it's a public platform, a commercial platform. But then you have Stable Diffusion, which is, I guess, is the equivalent. If Midjourney is Mac OS, then Stable Diffusion is what is it? Ubuntu, and that you can download, install, and really tweak on your own computer. Unix, right? It's the Unix equivalent. So
Open source basically, like open source.
yeah, exactly. It's open source. It takes a lot more understanding in order to be able to install it on your computer. You need a much better computer. But once you do, you really have a lot more control of the final image. So there's everything in between. So that's a long way of saying yes, anyone can access it. Yes, it's a lot easier today to write something and have something beautiful. But also, yes, it's going to get more and more complex, so that if you really want to get specific things out of it, you're still going to have to learn the prompt engineering and all the different utilities and plugins and capabilities that these new technologies have as they mature and grow.
Okay. Yeah, and also like I've read somewhere that like AI is still not good like in creating like the pictures of limbs, like hands, fingers and all. Is it right?
I think it's almost fixed.
Okay.
I haven't had many problems with limbs and things like that in my
Okay.
journey for the last few months. So I think that is becoming also a thing of the past. And I think maybe in another year, you will not be able to tell the difference between photography and AI images. So
Okay.
they're very, very quickly getting rid of all those problems.
Hmm. That's
So
awesome.
now the challenge is how can you tell that an image that looks photorealistic, how can you tell if it's AI or not,
Hmm.
right? So that's where I think we're going to have to develop that sensibility by exposure, right? At some point, people realized that a lot of the pictures that they had on swimsuit magazines were airbrushed, right? All
Okay.
the models or the famous people, you go, oh, they're airbrushed. Old school used to be with an actual airbrush, right? They
Yeah.
used to go through the photo, airbrush it, and then put it out there. Then it became Photoshop. And eventually people realized, oh, hang on, she's got 3 arms. Now I know it's
Hmm.
Photoshopped. So I think the same thing is going to happen with AI, that at some point people are going to start saying, hang on, this cannot have happened. You cannot see, for example, Elvis, the singer, skiing on the moon, right?
Yeah.
So you go, okay, that's not, it looks like a photo, it looks realistic, but it's not possible. So then we're going to have to learn how to distinguish these images, maybe not as much by the look of them, because they're going to be undistinguishable from reality, but by the context. So then you think, who's taking this photo? Right? There will be some
Okay.
impossible shot that you think, hang on, who was taking the photo of this? It's not, it doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
Or you see things that you go, no, hang on, this is not, this is a little bit of trickery. So that'll be interesting to see how we overcome that.
Okay. So like the funny thing here is basically like we are learning about AI and AI is learning about us.
As well, yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see how it proceeds.
Yeah.
But also, I want to remind everyone that AI has been around for a very long time. It's been around for decades, right? It's not new.
Yeah.
Um, Everybody's hearing about it now, and they're hearing specifically about generative AI. And within generative AI, it's ChatGPT and Midjourney and Dall-E that have kind of propelled that, because they have given everyone proof of how you can apply it and make it relevant to regular normal people. So that's where everyone can type. And if I can type something in ChatGPT, it gives me text back. Wow, I can do that. That's easy enough, right?
Yeah.
That's the reason it's taken off. But if you look closely, I think eventually there will be a plateau where people are like, oh, hang on, it's not that clever. If you look at ChatGPT and you ask for answers, it gets it wrong half the time.
Yeah.
It's a very good parrot, right? It can parrot words that it's learned from reading encyclopedias,
Yeah.
right? So it sounds great, but it doesn't always make sense. So that is when you're going to realize, okay, it's going to take a while to get the right amount of accuracy.
Totally. That makes a lot of sense. And yeah,
Mm,
like it's like really interesting to see like how it goes further in future. So
absolutely.